So today we are going to talk about what are the start with the database. So what is database? How we can interact with database? What is the purpose of database and all that stuff? So in a typical, what is a database? Database is all about storing the data. I mean, whatever the application that you see, Facebook, Google, or whatever you see, every data that will be stored in the database. So, and Java is a middle layer which will interact with the database and then process the data and send it to the UI. That's how the typical architecture works. Let's see the client server architecture. So you see the picture here, right? So not the whole, let's see the whole thing. This might be it. So now, if you look at the, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, we are able to see.
So here, this is how the typical, web application architecture is. So now what happens is, let's say you're a desktop or a laptop or whatever it is, when you make a call, the call comes to this server. This is nothing but application server. There are different types of servers. We'll talk about it later point of time. So when you, whenever you click a button or link or anything, it will come to the server. What server does is, it will connect to the database. Means it will get the relative data, whatever, let's say you're doing list of employees. So when you make a call to the server, server will fetch all the employees information from the database and process the data at the server level, however it is needed, and then send the employees information as a JSON response to the browser. And within the browser, we have the, depending on Angular or React or whatever the technology that we use, process the JSON and render the page. So that's how typically it works as a web application architecture. So to start with, we are going to deal with the database stuff first. What is a database, how things work at the database level, how to fetch the data from database, and how to save the data into the database. Once we get familiarized with the database stuff, and then we slowly get into this server. Server in the sense, how to, core Java, Spring, and how to fetch the data into the server and process the data using Spring or Hibernate or a core Java, whatever the technology that we decide, and then send the data back to the browser. So in the browser is more of a React or Angular, and server is more of Spring and Hibernate, and the database is more of MySQL that we are going to use. So this is how typical workflow happens when you build a web application. Any questions on this?
No questions.
Okay. So now we are going to deal with the database first, understand how database works, and then later on we slowly get into server. Now, so in the database, there are two types of database. There is SQL database and NoSQL database. So meaning, in a SQL database, we always store a structured data, meaning, let's say you want to store a list of, let's say we want to store 5 employees information. So employee might have first name, last name, salary, for example. So when you're using SQL databases, you can always store only first name, last name, and salary. That's all. But you cannot extend additional data into the database. So, I mean, we'll go into the deeper detail of SQL, then you understand what is SQL database. Categorically, there is two types of databases available. One is SQL, one is NoSQL database. SQL database handles structured data. NoSQL database handles unstructured data. So what is the difference between a structured data and an unstructured data? The structured data, in the sense, you already know the predefined format, how you want to store the data into the database. For example, employee. So for employee, you know what to store, meaning first name, last name, and salary. For example, that's what you want to store. And every record in the database for all the employees, let's say we are storing 10 different employees into the database. So for all 10 different employees, we know that we store only first name, last name, and salary. So that means we already know what is the predefined set of data that we are storing into the database. That is nothing but structured data. What is an unstructured data? In the same scenario of employees, one record might have first name and last name, and second record you want to store first name, last name, salary, address, something else. In the third record, you're storing only first name. Fourth record, you're doing something else. So that means you don't know how the data coming in. But still you need to handle those kind of situations. That is nothing but unstructured. So now, for the moment, we will deal with only structured data and the database that supports the structured database. For the moment, let's forget about unstructured data and NoSQL database concepts. So once you understand the whole web application workflow, once you build some web services, later point, maybe a couple months, then we talk about NoSQL. Now let's focus on only SQL databases. Then now, for the databases that support the structured data, there are so many variety kinds of databases available. One is Oracle, another one is MySQL. Both Oracle and MySQL databases are coming from Oracle Corporation. MySQL is a free, no license, free of cost database. Oracle is licensed version. That's the difference. And Oracle do much more efficient way of handling data, and a lot of other stuff available with Oracle. And MySQL is not that. That's the product differences. And for the SQL databases, there are, for Microsoft is also having one more database, that is Microsoft SQL Server to handle structured data. So like that, few other companies, they have their own databases, how to handle structured data. So for the training purpose, let's focus on structured data, and we are going to use MySQL database that is provided by Oracle. Okay? Any questions?
No questions.
Clear? Okay. Now, to do that, what you need to do is, the first basic step is install, just Google, install MySQL Workbench. This is nothing but a graphical interface to interact with the database. So just go to this one. Oracle is the official provider of the MySQL. And go, not this one, this one. The first link, MySQL Workbench. Click on that. And then, there are downloads. Click on mysql.com and downloads. You should get Workbench option. It is not, Let's see how to get this. Downloads. Not, yeah. So what you can do is downloads and then click on community, downloads and then community, and come down somewhere you should see MySQL Workbench. And then you will see a lot of options. So because I know that you are using Windows operating system, just keep that as is, Microsoft Windows. And then you will see this option, MSI installer. Click on download and install, whatever the preconditions that will ask you, do the same way and try to install MySQL Workbench. It should be pretty straightforward to install this. So once you install, I already installed, that's why I'm not installing it again. So once you install, you get something like this, an icon on your desktop. For the purpose, I'll close this. So now once you get the icon on your desktop, click on that icon. Now you get something like this. And go to MySQL Connections. And here you will see plus symbol here. Click on that symbol. You get a connection window, pop-up window. And you can do whatever the name, connection name of your choice. For example, I'm using Arun. Arun as my connection name. And you need to give what is the host name, what is the port number, and what is the username and password to connect. So now here host name is nothing but where your database server is installed. The machine host name, that is nothing but let's say for the training purposes, I have installed MySQL server on Amazon Cloud. I'll give you the IP host name here, and then port. What is the port number that is running on? So by default, MySQL server runs on port number 3306, and username, something like what is the database username, Arun. And whatever the password that will give the password. I'll share the password also. So this is how you need to, let's say, I already have a connection. Let me do that, edit connection. So now you see here, I am changing it to Arun. And this is the host name where the server is already installed. This is the IP address of that machine where the MySQL server is installed. And the port number is same, 3306. And username I have created as Arun. And password is yours, same. I'll give you the password, Arun, okay? So once you enter the password, now you can do the test connection. So now you see here, all are correct. And close. So now you see here, I got the connection. Once you double click on that connection, you will see your own database available. This is what your database is. So once you install the MySQL Workbench on your machine, connect whatever I explained you, right? The similar way you try to connect to Arun, and once you connect, you will see the database that you have access on this server. This server is actually having many other different databases, but I have created a separate database as Arun. Database means it's a schema. It's not really a database. So when we having a database server, we install the database server. On the server, we will have multiple schemas. Each schema is meant for each different application. So, meaning, let's say we are building 2-3 different applications. Application 1, application 2, application 3. Application 1 might be need schema 1. Application 2 is schema 2. Application 3 is schema 3. So now all the schema 1, schema 2, schema 3 can be created on the same database server. So now I have created multiple different schemas. I have created a database for you, and I also created a database for you. I'll send you the database details, and once you install, you should be able to connect to the database that you have access on. So
Yeah, got it.
So once you connected, you get like this. So now you see here tables, views, stored procedure. There are 4 different sections that you can see. Tables is meant to store your data. So you can have multiple. We'll go in deeper details. So tables is like, you can create a, employee table, address table, country table, something like that. So employees table will hold employees information, address table will hold address information, country table will hold country's information. So every table is, designed to hold a specific information. And views is nothing but, let's say I wanted to, give you data, employee first name, his address, his country. Now, in the views, what I will do is I'll write my own queries to get employee name from employee table, address from address table, and country from country table, and give that specific information to whoever is asking. That's how view is only read-only mode. It will interact with the tables, extract the data, and expose it as a view, and so that anybody, whoever is having access to the views, they can view whatever the specific data that is available for them. And stored procedures. Stored procedures is something to process the data and manipulate tables or anything like that. If you wanted to process data which takes longer time, that's where we create our own stored procedures and process data differently. Functions is also similar kind of concept. So for now, let's focus on only tables. Don't worry about rest of 3 concepts. We'll go in deeper in details in upcoming sections. Now, so what is it? Now here if you see, I created a empty schema. That's why you don't see anything. Now, let's say I want to create a simple table. So now here to create a table, so you get all these options once you install MySQL Workbench. Create table, employee, name is my choice. Create table is a standard syntax. What is the table name that I wanted? I want to create as employee table, and inside the table, what is each column? For example, for now I will say something like first underscore name. What type of column name is first name? So what type of data that you are going to store with first name? I'm saying varchar. Varchar means only the string type of data. That is nothing but varchar. And what is the length of the column? I'm trying to say 10. So that means you can store only up to 10 characters on the first name column. You cannot store more than that. And then semicolon. Now, and to execute this, just select this whole whole SQL query. This is nothing but a SQL query. Select whole SQL query, and you get all these little icons. See, when you hover on the icon, it will tell you execute the selected portion of the script or everything. So now I'm clicking on it. So now you see here, no database. So no database is selected. So now I got some error code where this code, the SQL query should run. Now set as default schema, because the query did not understand which database. Let's say, Arun, you have access to 4 different databases here. That means whenever you log in with your connection privileges, you will see all the schemas that you have access here. So let's, for example, assume that you have 2 schemas here. Now, when you're executing this SQL query, it will get confused where the SQL query to be executed, on Arun schema or XYZ schema. So now make it Arun, set as default schema. Now I am doing the same thing again. Now you see here, output is table is created. Now click on the tables, right click, refresh. Now you see employee table is created. Now once you create the table, now what happens? We created a single table employee with only one column, which is length 10. Now I'm saying select. I just wanted to see what data is stored on these tables. To do that, select star from. Star means all columns. From employee. Employee is the table name that we just created. Now if you see here, no columns is available. See here, nothing is there. The column name is coming because that's the column name that we created as a first name. When you look at this, there is no data available. Now, I want to insert some data into employee table. To do that, straightforward, insert into table name, nothing but employee, and give the column names. What is the column name that we have created? First name, and now values. Column name is values, and what is the value we want to store? Just a single quotes. Inside this, I am giving go over. Okay, so now I am executing this query. Now you see insert into is successful. Message is one row is affected. That means I have inserted only one row. That's why you see one row affected. And now go back to select star from employee. So now you see here only first name is available. So now I wanted to insert one more record for Arun. Again, another record is inserted. Now once we do the select star from employee, it should display 2 records. See here, Govardhan, Arun. So now I say I am adding one more record for you. So another record is added. So now every row, whatever the row you see here is, every row is a record. So now employee table has 3 records, and each record is served for each employee information. Any questions?
No question.
Can't we add another column?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
So now, let's say I created a table with one column. You can create table with multiple columns also.
So I'm actually saying that insert by using insert into
no, insert only data. insert statements will not change the structure of the table. So once you look at the employee structure means employee has only one column. So any insert statements will not change the structure of the table. So you see here, employee has columns, only one column. That is nothing but structure of the table. Now, to modify the structure of the table, what you can do is alter table employee add, because we are trying to add a column. So now I am trying to add last name column. And what type of the column it is? Again, varchar. And what is the length of the this column? Let's say I am saying 20 this time, 20 character length. So now I am executing this statement. So now you see here, table is altered. Now let's go back and see select star from employees. Now you see here, first name, last name. So similarly, you can add any number of columns at any time. Let's say I am adding, salary. Let's say I will say email ID, email underscore ID, and I am giving length like 100. I mean this parameter, whatever you want, you can give. The length, maximum length that you can give is 4,000 characters. That's the limitation for any column on the database.
Okay.
And I am adding one more column. You can add any number of columns at a single time. So now I would say I am adding, for example, postal code, postal underscore code. And, I am saying, I guess number is number. And length can be 10. 10 and 0, I guess. I should be able to do this. Why it is? I mean, whenever you get the red line, that means something wrong with the code. Let's try this. Now I'm trying this. Now you see, you have an error in the SQL syntax. So when you get those kind of situations, you just go and Google it, MySQL, add number column. So it comes in, add number column. Whatever you wanted to do, just Google it, you will get it. So now here, right, when you read through, somewhere number type column, number type, numeric types. So when you go to the documentation, that will tell you how to add a numeric type column. It does not have numeric type column. Oh, okay, it has int. Okay, let's do not that int, right? I think so. So I guess only number, but I'll leave up to you to research on this. Let's say I say int, integer number. So now when you run, now there is no error in this SQL query. You run this query. Now you see the query is added. Now let's go back and check this. Select star from employees. Now you see first name, last name, email ID, and postal code. So that's how you can add any number of columns, and you can define what is the type of each column, and also you can define what is the length of each column. Now, You already inserted three records and all other data is blank, nothing but null values, rest of 3 columns. So now you wanted to modify data for Govardhan. For example, you want to modify data for Govardhan, you want to insert last name. So to do that, you can do update. Insert is to insert a new record. Update is to update an existing record. Update. What is the table we want to do? Employee table. We are trying to update employee table. And set. What column you want to update? That is nothing but set. I am trying to do set last name equal to Singareddy. Where do you want to update? Which row you want to update the last name? That is nothing but where first name equal to Govardhan. Something like this. Let's come back to the update a little bit later. Now, when you say select star from employee, you see all 3 different records. But I want to get only one record that is related to my name. Let's just select star from employee where first name. It's a plain English. Where first name equal to Govardhan. Now you see here, I got only one record. When you see select star from employee, that means give me all the records available on employee table. When I say where first name is equal to Govardhan, give me all the records where first name is Govardhan. For example, in the database, there is only one record with first name. That's why you see only one record here. So that's how you can filter the data however you want. Now,
will it accept the duplicates?
Because it will accept the duplicates because I did not keep any constraints. That I'll explain you later in the next session. So I'm trying to give you very basic stuff now. What is table? How you can insert data? How you can change table? How you update? How you delete? All that stuff. Later on, slowly I'll tell you how to eliminate duplicates, what is constraints and all that stuff.
Okay.
So now, I'm trying to update the existing record. Now you see, one rows matched, changed. Now let's go back to the same record, my record, where first name. Now you see here, Govardhan, Singareddy. Singareddy is stored as the last name, where first name is matched. So even if you go to the select star from employees, the Singareddy is updated only on my record, not other records. So that way you can update any record. Update any record, you can add multiple columns at the same time. Here, if you want to update multiple columns on the same record, you can do that. Do like this, email underscore ID. Whatever the update you have to do, I'm using only single quotes. And, postal code, you just need to give the column name and what is the value of that name you wanted to give. Because it is an integer number, I am giving 1, 2, 3. Integer numbers you can do directly. String type, varchar types you have to keep in single quotes. So now I'm changing the first name also to something else, 1, 2, 3. So when I execute this query, all these columns will be updated on the particular record where matches Govardhan. So now you see here, all the data is updated. So that's how you can update the existing records. And in the insert statements also, you can do that. Now, I am doing insert into employee. Earlier, we inserted only one record. Now, I am trying to insert multiple columns. So now, to insert that, the first name, last name, email underscore ID, and postal underscore code. I mean, basically, I'm trying to insert data for all these columns. So that's why I have mentioned all the columns and values. You have to follow the column definitions. So whatever the order that you define here, the values should be on the same order. You cannot change that. That's how the SQL query figures out. Now I'm saying first name and the last name is last name. You need to follow these column definitions and values in the same order. Email.com and 567, something like that. So the record is inserted. Now let's go back and check what is there in the table. Now you see here when I am doing select star from employees, I got all the records. And the record that I have inserted recently is having first name, last name, email.com, and whatever it is. So that's how you can insert multiple columns also into the table. Now, I have all the data is available. Now I don't want first name. I want to delete that record from the database. You can do that. Delete from which table name? Employee, where, which record you want to delete? Where first name equal to the string, first name. So I cannot do something like this. First N is capital. It's a case sensitive. You need to match exactly the same. So now I am doing this. So now you see here, one row affected. That means that row is deleted. Now let's go back and do the select star from employee. Now you see only 3 different records. This is how you can create table. You can change the structure of the table. You can insert data. You can update data, and you can delete data. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay. So I will stop here, and I'll send you the connection details. Connect it to the database and practice these examples. So, and tomorrow I'll explain you how you can eliminate, duplicated data and all that stuff. Okay?
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'll answer. Otherwise, we'll wrap up and meet up tomorrow.
No questions.
Okay then. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.